So you could say, look, we're proud of what we have accomplished, but we have so much more to do to create the kind of government and nations that work for all of us and not just the few.
And that's what I've been saying for months, ever since Harris has taken the reins in trying to, win this election. I've been saying you or she needs to make sure she's telling the American people that, hey, Joe Biden has done a lot of amazing things. But when I take the presidency, when I sit in that chair, we're going to build off of that. We're going to make sure that we go even further with X, Y, and Z. Like I have said time and time again. Well, I guess not that long. I've been doing this for about 2 years and even took 10 months off. 10 months off. But one thing that I've been a strong advocate for is higher wages, extremely low, if not free, healthcare, if not free, extremely affordable education. And I'm talking about universities, you know what I'm saying? High quality jobs, these type of things. I think if you're a Republican, let's just say you hate my guts, you hate everything or every opinion that I've ever said in every video that I've made, but you would agree that high quality jobs, higher wages, affordable healthcare, affordable education, those 4 things you would agree with. Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know that you disagree with everything that I've ever said, but let me know if you agree with that. Because only the disingenuous ones will be like, no, I don't want high quality jobs. I don't want higher minimum wage. I'd rather just work my fingers to the bone for very little pay. Then those are idiots, hint. But the most important thing is we need people in these seats of power to advocate for these things. You know what I'm saying? And it's very little of those people. And this is why I've always said, or not always, just probably like the past maybe 5 months, to be honest, we have to stop conflating Republican Party with the Democratic Party. Because on the surface level, yes, they're both shit at the end of the day. I agree with that. But once you start digging a little deeper into the details, you'll start to notice a lot of separation when it comes to the levels of shit that they are. And unfortunately, the Republican Party has left the building. They're not even close. They're not even talking about increasing minimum wage. They're not even talking about actual affordable health care. They're not talking about high quality jobs. They're not talking about making education damn near free. They're not doing that. Not at all. But who won? The one person who's been A1 since day one, Bernie Sanders. And he is back on CNN responding to a lot of criticism that he said like 4 days ago in regards to Harris and the Democratic Party losing to Trump, which is a whole nother story. But he had some really good points that for some reason a lot of people seem to not grasp. They can't comprehend that. So he is on here to kind of elaborate on that.
Senator Bernie Sanders is here with me now. Hello, Senator. Congratulations on your reelection. Nice to have you here. I want to start with the scathing response that you gave after the Democrats lost, Kamala Harris lost pretty big. You said the Democrats abandoned the working class. The chairman of the DNC called it straight up BS and said Joe Biden is the most pro-worker president of my lifetime. Former Speaker Nancy Pelosi said she disagreed with you. She added, quote, Bernie Sanders has not won. Do you stand by what you said?
Oh, absolutely. Look, Joe Biden is a friend of mine. I've been proud to work with him on an agenda which has been very strongly in favor of the working class. Biden promised to be the most progressive president since FDR. In many ways, on domestic issues, I think he kept his word. But here is the reality. The working class of this country is angry, and they have a reason to be angry. We are living in an economy today, Donna, where the people on top are doing phenomenally well, while 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. 25% of elderly people are trying to get by on $15,000 a year or less. We have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth, and parents all over this country worry that their kids may have a lower standard of living than they do. That is the economic reality. And what Donald Trump did is provided an explanation. He went around, he said, I know you're angry, and the reason is that zillions of illegal immigrants are coming over and they're eating your cats and dogs and everything else. That's the reason. Well, obviously, that...
And that's the only strategy that they had. I guarantee you can't elaborate on one Trump policy that he ran on. When I say elaborate, I want to know the details. I want to know the amount of money, where the money's coming from, where the money's going to go, exactly what's going to be implemented when it comes to fixing the border wall. And I don't want to hear about no damn wall, because most of the drugs come through legal ports of entry. Hey, a wall's not going to fix that. And he told me that Mexico, okay, was going to pay for that damn thing. I have not seen that check yet. All right. So elaborate on how he's going to fix the immigration problem, the border crisis. And deporting 15 million is not fixing the problem. Unfortunately, that's not how that works. So elaborate on that. And I bet you can't. You're going to come up with something that you made up that he didn't say himself or on his website. And that's the problem. He only ran on, hey, we're not going to tell you what exactly is the issue. We're not going to tell you corporations are, beholden to their shareholders. So they're going to do whatever they can to increase the margins every single year. Record profits hitting every single year for these Fortune 500 companies. Why is that? But yet, like Bernie says, 60% of Americans are living check to check and cannot afford $300 surprise bill. Guess what? That is not surprising. Oh, but tax cuts. You think Trump giving tax cuts to the wealthy is going to somehow trickle down on us? When? I mean, that's been since Reagan, and people are still waiting for the trickle down. You know what I'm saying? It must be a long trickle down before it hits us.
That is not the reason. The reason is, in my view, that we have an unprecedented level of corporate greed today, more income and wealth inequality, and people on top want it all. And we need an agenda that says to the working class, we're going to take on these powerful special interests and create an economy and a government that works for you. And by the way, that can't happen unless you get big money out of politics.
Amen.
We got to get rid of the Citizens United Supreme Court decision so billionaires do not continue to buy elections.
And I know that you heard President Biden and Vice President Harris tout over and over the record of supporting workers, helping the middle class, some of the things that you were instrumental in helping pass, like lowering the cost of insulin. You saw the president walking a picket line. They forgave student loan debt as much as they could. You said yourself in July that he had a strong record, which you just repeated here. So it sounds like it's not maybe as much about policies and more about messaging and communication.
Come on,
It's not messaging, Donna. It's a fundamental understanding of saying, look, the Biden administration has done a lot of good things, period. We should all be proud of that. But it has to be put in the broad context of the reality of the American economy today. And that is when you have three people on top owning more wealth than the bottom half of American society. When you have millions and millions of people working for starvation wages, you got to speak to that reality.
Exactly.
So you could say, look, we're proud of what we have accomplished, but we have so much more to do to create the kind of government and nations that work for all of us and not just the few.
And that's what I've been saying for months, ever since Harris has taken the reins in trying to, win this election. I've been saying you or she needs to make sure she's telling the American people that, hey, Joe Biden has done a lot of amazing things. But when I take the presidency, when I sit in that chair, we're going to build off of that. We're going to make sure that we go even further with X, Y, and Z. And she failed at that. Plenty of times she had opportunities to do that. And she said, hey, me and Joe Biden, we like this. It's just going to be more of the same. And honestly, just hearing that, people who are not politically inclined, who's not politically engaged, like folks like me and you, they hear that and be like, wait, my pockets is a little thin, my wallet pretty thin, I don't want more of what we just had. I want a president that's going to be progressive, that's going to do more. And Trump, he didn't offer anything special. Hell, he didn't really offer anything. He just said, we're going to make America great. Like, what does that mean? What policy is that? I don't know. Is that the name of the bill or something? So even just telling people, hey, I know we did some amazing things, but we're going to do so much more that's going to benefit you. And she didn't even do that. Damn.
That's my critique. It's not that the Biden administration did not do a lot of good things, but it has to be put into an overall context where in the last 50 years, if you can believe it, real weak inflation accounted for weekly wages are lower today than they were 50 years ago. Massive transfer of wealth from the bottom 90% to the top 1%. That's not Joe Biden's fault. It's not Trump's fault. That's what's gone on for 50 years. Recognize it. Deal with it. Tell the working class that you understand what is going on in their lives. You're going to fight for them.
The a top aide, former aide to John Fetterman and Harry Reid, Adam Jenelson, told the Washington Post that Democrats are preoccupied with the narrow interests of college-educated elite activists more than everyday working people. Do you agree with that?
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying here, is that the vast 60% of our people live in paycheck to paycheck. How do we not talk and fight for raising the minimum wage to a living wage? Dana, on Tuesday, in the election, in the state of Missouri, a conservative state, they became one of the many states that voted, I think, 58% to raise the minimum wage. Now, how is it that in Congress and the Senate, we haven't even brought a damn minimum wage bill onto the floor? We are the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people as a human right. The Affordable Care Act is a stopgap measure. It is not addressing the real health care crisis in America. Why aren't we saying, yes, health care is a human right. We're going to take on the insurance companies and the drug companies. We're going to pass the PRO Act to make it easier for workers to join unions. We're going to expand Social Security by lifting it up. We're going to demand that the billionaires start paying their fair share of taxes. Dana, all of these issues that I'm talking about, these are not Bernie Sanders ideas. These are, without exception, popular ideas that Democrats, Republicans, and independents support. Now, the people who don't support it is the billionaire class, and they got a lot of power. But we've got to be prepared to take them on.
But hey, Danish, whatever your name is, hey, stop asking questions, get with the program. And Bernie said it best. This is not a Bernie Sanders idea. Literally, every American who's working out there, not the billionaire, because they could care less, but the real working individuals who bring home a paycheck by actually going to work and handling business, they want higher wages. They want job security. They want high quality jobs. They want opportunities. They don't want nothing given to them. They want the opportunities to be there. And if a politician can create a plan that demonstrates that and has a history of providing that, then getting the votes would be easy. Because you don't have to convince people, hey, you need a higher quality job. You need more wages. You need more money on that paycheck. I don't know who would argue that. You? No? Okay. See, I don't know. Who's arguing that? Who would argue they don't want extremely, if not free, affordable health care? I mean, only people with money, I guess, will argue that. Who will argue about high quality education that's damn near super cheap, if not free? Who would argue that? My black ass would be in college right now if I could afford it. So you don't have to do too much. You don't have to convince a lot of people to pass those kind of legislation. And like Bernie said, all Trump had to do was say, hey, I understand how you feel. Even though no points of his life, and he's 80 something years old, not one point of his life did he ever live or experience what we do on a day-to-day basis. Not one time. But all he had to do was just say it, and people believed it. People say, hey, Trump wants to put more money in my pocket. How? I don't know. But he just said it. So, I don't know, man. It just feels like we're sleeping on people like Bernie Sanders. But what we need to do is build ourselves up, build other people up to continue that kind of work. Because unfortunately, Bernie himself is over 80 something years old. And we need people to fill in that gap. You know what I'm saying? But once again, if you disagree or agree with anything that I said, join the Discord down below so we can have that one-on-one talk. Or let me know how you feel in the comments down below. And like always, let's have that conversation.